Sometimes you hear something in a video game so unexpected, it seems to stick with you for days. This is why today we're diving into the top 7 strangest audio discoveries in video games that still remain unsolved to this day. Part 2. Brought to you by Dashlane. Red Dead Redemption 2. In a particularly unusual audio discovery, players such as Belgium Sheepdog were playing through Red Dead Redemption 2 when suddenly they realized there was something off with the protagonist's voice.
Good morning.
In fact, perhaps only because of a completely inexplicable glitch, it wasn't even his voice at all.
Morning, partner.
A very good morning to you.
But actually the adult voice of Jack Marston, a character who appeared as an adult at the end of the original Red Dead Redemption, but never as an adult in Red Dead Redemption 2.
You have a fine morning, ma'am.
Good morning to you, sir.
Creating an extremely unusual glitch where the main character was using the voice of someone who didn't even appear in the game.
Good day, miss.
Making matters even more confusing, a random non-player character was later found infected with the same glitch.
You had my nerves humming.
How the mysterious recordings are being triggered into the game, or what the purpose of the recordings are even doing in Red Dead Redemption 2 in the first place, remains a mystery.
Morning, partner.
Leaving many to believe that Jack's future in the series may be far from over.
You have a fine morning, ma'am.
Ma'am? That's clearly not a woman.
Another day.
Oh my god, I have no idea what to trust anymore. Asterix XXL. Thanks to Pyramid Surfer for submitting me this odd discovery on my Discord server. Asterix is one of the world's most famous comic book characters, with theme parks, movies, and board games, unless you live in America where the character is practically unknown. Despite this, several titles of Asterix have made it to the US, including Asterix XXL, rebranded as Kick Buttix in the States. A mystery haunting Kick Buttix since release in 2003 are a couple of unsettling and unexplained audio discoveries that could be found on the game's last mission, as players thought they could hear the faint cries of a baby beyond this random inaccessible gate in the level. Pyramid Surfer couldn't let the question of the other side taunt him any further, and in 2018, 15 years after the game's release, he created a camera hack so he could see exactly what was on the other side. And while he wasn't able to find anything physically back there, he definitely confirmed there to be a baby crying clear as day behind the gate. Why? And as terrifying as that is, an even more frightening audio was found only a few steps away, as YouTuber The Crass Dude found an extremely unsettling whisper if they stood in front of these boxes, which are so quiet I actually had to amplify the audio quite significantly. What the f***? Well, that definitely didn't sound like English to me, considering the developers of Kick Buttix originate from France. Really hoping one of my French-speaking viewers can provide a translation. Mercy in advance. Bloodborne. Thanks to Grace Daniel for submitting me this in the comments of the last Audio Discoveries video. Players found at random times in the game that they visited the old abandoned workshop, turned up the ambient track in the game options, and stood in this totally random spot in the garden. They could hear a rather creepy loop of a woman laughing and saying yes over and over. That's spooky. Some theorists suggested this was an Easter egg implying relations between the nearby characters Gehrman and his doll, although others felt this theory was inconsistent and a little far-fetched, mostly given the game portrayed their relationship as largely innocent. Not only that, it was later discovered the audio doesn't originate from the doll at all, and instead originates from a completely random piece of dialogue found in a totally different scene of the game.
Yes.
With this knowledge, many players believe something much more cryptic is going on here that possibly wasn't even intended, further backed by the fact that From Software games tend to have a reputation for strange audio glitches.
From Software.
Evidenced by the many submissions I've received for their original title Dark Souls, before eventually deteriorating into a nasty distortion. Oh, horrible. But while that discovery is almost definitely the result of a glitch, the Bloodborne audio's original purpose remains a highly contentious debate, with no firm confirmation what the audio is supposed to be in years. Why would such a strange snippet of audio be repeating over and over in such a random spot of the game? Intentional or not, this one legit gives me the creeps. Call of Duty: Modern Warfare 3. Thanks to Bone for submitting this intriguing mystery on my Discord server, as data miners made an unusual discovery in the files for the game's final mission, Dust to Dust. In the data for the game, 3 mysterious audio files were found tied to the game's ending that couldn't be found anywhere else in the game, that were titled Dubai Finale Now, Dubai Shadow Man Exit, and Dubai Finale Ominous Stranger. Now, normally the game ends pretty standardly with you taking out the game's main villain, finalizing with you lighting up a cigar as you stare at his body. Very standard stuff. But playing these newly found audio files together at once paints a far more mysterious picture. Data miners also found leftover strings of text in the mission scripts that said, Mysterious Stranger Rimlight, Dubai Finale Stranger Appears, and Finale Shadow Man Exit. While no dialogue has been found that originally belonged to this missing ending, hackers discovered that the audio files which do appear in the game were nowhere to be found in the files for the map, nor anywhere. So it is possible the dialogue for the ending still exists somewhere, albeit hidden from plain sight along with the rest of Makarov's audio. All this seems a bit surreal, perhaps too enigmatic for a Call of Duty title. Unfortunately, being evidence is slim over what exactly this alternate ending actually is. Who the hell the Shadow Man or Mysterious Stranger is supposed to be may just be a mystery where we'll never know the answer. Watchdogs 2. Previously on my video Unsolved Mysteries Part 3, I discussed how in Ubisoft title Far Cry 5, players could find chilling audio bleeding through their car radio if they drove to certain locations in the game. That almost sounded as though a woman on the other side was crying for help. Well, strangely enough, it appears as though the same sort of thing has been found in another Ubisoft game, Watchdogs 2, as the game at one point provides the ability to hack random strangers' text and calls, most of which are fairly unexciting. Not the case for players Jacob and Nicholas Miller, who both submitted their discoveries to me separately through oddheader.com. Both managed to record extremely rare instances of unusual audio interferences that no one's ever replicated since. Collectively, Jacob and Nicholas Miller have both played Watch Dogs a total of 1,600 hours, well above any game's normal playtime. In the audio, they reported hearing what I noticed was very similar to the previous reports from Far Cry 5, as they could hear a woman weeping and cries for help once again. However, none of it compares to the audio interference Jacob found when he went to hack this random car enthusiast's phone. He heard something that he's never found again. Whoa, what the f? Scared the shit out of me. Mortal Kombat 3. Thanks to David Stein, who was inspired by the last audio mystery video to submit this discovery he made on Mortal Kombat 3 on CD-ROM. Quick bit of background. To save on the limited processing power of home computers in the 90s, game audio on CD-ROMs wasn't actually programmed in the games themselves, but was actually played directly from the disc straight into the computer speakers separately while you played the game. This meant you couldn't actually data mine Mortal Kombat 3's audio from the data of the game, but instead could only access them by inserting the disc into a CD player like you would a normal audio CD. Most of the game's standard audio could be found ranging from tracks 1 to 46. But on track 47, something unexpected plays that can't be found anywhere in the game. Okay, first off, we got a pretty funky groove going, when suddenly a rather unexpected, fairly jarring backwards voice begins to emerge out of the absurdity. Reversing the audio, things get even weirder, as when we play it back, it's a rather goofy sounding voice reciting the Lewis Carroll poem "'Tis the Voice of the Lobster."
"'Tis the voice of the lobster. I heard him declare, you have issued too brown. I must sugar my beer."
Huh?
As a doctor gets eye-
No clue what's going on here, what the purpose of this audio is, or what the developers were smoking when they came up with this one is still a mystery. The Stanley Parable. A rather unusual mystery exists on the first-person narrative game The Stanley Parable before you even start the game, brought to my attention by Ashley Simple and Little Ring on my Discord server. In the distortion of office sounds in the background of the main menu, muffled dialogue can be heard that when enhanced for some reason sounds like a manager chastising an employee over what he considers to be a false claim to HR.
I know that you're not me. Like, yeah, but you know, because I wanted to put him down here, but basically, right. And you put us with that example, are you speaking? Does it work from like, does it still work? Do you feel support you by going and the same thing? Or does it have to be?
And at this point, it sounds like the manager has a complete change in attitude and completely lets the employee go.
You know what? Even if you were going to be sarcastic and ironic, I think you should still act as though it was personal in order to leave this kind of stuff. Right? Yeah. So let's just say it was. So let's just say it was.
Honestly, the question is why the hell something like this is even here. Perhaps someone out there can transcribe this better than I can, but honestly I don't think it's going to give us a better idea why the hell anyone would include something like this in the first place. And just as a few of these developers very likely never wanted these discoveries to ever be found, you may be just as concerned of your own sensitive materials being discovered and leaked out into the world. Don't forget that Funimation is still in hot water over some incredibly awkward audio files that were leaked from the new Dragon Ball Z game.
Yes, it is true. Kami does not lie. He likes big butts. He cannot lie.
Which may be why you want to save yourself from the same embarrassment with the extra level of security that Dashlane provides. Dashlane can be your one-stop shop for your digital identity by managing all your passwords so that you don't have to keep track of each one. Dashlane works across all devices including Apple products, PCs, Android, Safari, and Chrome. Dashlane also has a secure autofill feature that works for personal information and credit cards, saving you time when shopping online. A VPN to prevent prying eyes from tracking and helping you access content anywhere. Plus dark web monitoring to see if your information is being bought and sold illegally. To give it a try for free, go to dashlane.com/oddheader and use my promo code oddheader to get 10% off if you want to upgrade to premium. If you enjoyed this video, please subscribe. And if you know of any other mysteries or discoveries that I didn't cover here, let me know in the comments down below, submit to oddheader.com, or even give me a shout on my Twitter or Reddit. Shout out to Andrew M, Dead Plastic, Designer 12, Down with System D, EC2-User, Flex, I Fart in Elevators, Igor.hxc, Michael Beeson, Nick, Rage Spot, Riley S, Select, Spencer I Rule at Games Geller, The Last Red Dragon Media, Towerizer, and Wade Murdoch for their Patreon support. Stay tuned.